Dana.
Well, Mary Katharine Ham is a Fox News contributor. Meghan Hays is the former director of message planning for the Biden White House. Great to have you both. Meghan, what happened to the vibes?
You know, everyone was warning that the sugar high would come down as we hit the fall. So I think, she needs to take these moments and keep her head down and continue to do the work, do the organizing that they're doing in these battleground states. But she has a big moment tomorrow, so we'll see if she hits the mark.
Mary Katharine, over the weekend I read Joe Klein's blog. It's called Sanity Clause. And one of the things he says is that they're about to see if the campaign's decision to stash her away and to not have her do a lot of interaction and just wait and put all the chips on red for tomorrow night is going to be the best way for her to try to keep some momentum going. But there's no doubt in this New York Times poll, it's slipped.
Yeah, I mean, one of the issues with talking less is that the only times you talk become very important. So the debate will be extremely important. I think this felt like a different race when she got in the race, understandably, because she's a brand new candidate, right? But I think this New York Times poll posits that maybe it's not that different a race. I think the expansion of the map is real. I think that euphoria can become something that is enthusiasm, can build back some of those voters. I think those parts are real. And she has an opportunity in that people want to learn more about her. However, what we see is that the messages they've been sending, which is she is a change candidate and different from this administration, that's not hitting, because some 60% want change, 53% see Trump as change, 25% of voters see her as change. So I think that's something that Trump should hit really hard on the debate stage. And people just aren't buying that the vice president of this administration is disconnected from this administration.
Probably wasn't fun if you're a Democrat to wake up and read this New York Times poll, because here's another one. Which candidate do you think would better do a job of handling the issue that you care about the most, whatever that issue is? And Trump is at 50%, Harris at 45%, Meghan. And then the other thing is Nate Silver. He has the latest probability of winning that includes Sunday's poll, Trump at 63.8%. So last week, Harris's folks said she's the underdog, and is that a position they prefer to be in?
Well, I think everyone prefers to be the underdog, right? There's less expectations. You have a quicker fall from grace when you are not the underdog. But again, you just can't live and die by the polls. I say that when Democrats are ahead in the polls and when you're behind in the polls. They're a moment, a snapshot in time. The only poll that really matters is the one in November. But she does have to hit the mark tomorrow. She needs to talk about policy. She needs to talk about the economy. And she needs to give people what they need to hear from her and get to know her better. 28% is a large number of people who want more information about her. And that, when you're deciding in these states, about 10,000 votes in about 7 states are going to decide the election. 28% is a lot of people that are on the margins and that she could have a real impact on tomorrow. So I hope that the practice and the mock debates are playing off for her. I think that they are. She's a person who likes to do the prep and likes to do the work there. So I think that tomorrow is a big night, but I think she'll hit the mark.
And she will hit the ground for the next 4 days after that. Mary Katharine Ham, you always give me the lowdown on what the moms are thinking. So if some of those moms are in that 28% that Meghan's describing, that are thinking like, who am I going to vote for, or am I going to vote, what are they looking for tomorrow night?
I mean, I think, look, people do want more information about her policies because her website even doesn't have that section, okay? I think that's something that's worth pointing out from Trump, who has given sort of more in-depth policy speeches than she has. She's given a sprinkling of policies. Now, the moms who are paying attention are largely paying attention because they run their families' budgets. They're looking at things like grocery costs. They're looking at things like day-to-day costs and mortgage costs for them and the possibility of buying new houses. And so I think speaking to those things, the extent to which the reality on the ground runs up against Kamala's rhetoric and Trump forces it to, is how he wins those voters over and says, hey, maybe take a look at me. Remember what your life was like a couple years ago.
It's going to be fascinating. Great to have you both on this morning. Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.